The Alien Council had calculated humanity's extinction down to the second decimal. Probability models layered across probability models, centuries of conquest data stacked like trophies in digital vaults. Every variable accounted for: industrial output, fleet tonnage, biological fragility, political instability, historical aggression thresholds, technological maturity. Humanity ranked somewhere between brief inconvenience and educational example. Projected resistance duration, 4.2 standard hours. Projected human surrender, 3.8 standard hours. Projected species compliance, 99.7%. The chamber lights dimmed as the final projection stabilized, Earth's blue sphere rotating slowly in holographic captivity. "They are aesthetically pleasing," murmured Counselor Thel of the Avarice Collective, her crystalline tendrils chiming softly. "A shame." Chancellor XYR flexed his plated claws against the obsidian table. "Beauty is irrelevant," he said. "Order is permanent." A dozen species nodded in ritual agreement. Humanity had been loud since first detection. Radio waves bursting into the void filled with music, war threats, sitcoms, conspiracy theories, and something called late-night fast food commercials, which analysts were still trying to classify as psychological warfare or cultural collapse. They fought each other constantly, argued constantly, changed governments constantly. Every model said the same thing. Unstable species collapse quickly under external pressure. The decision to deploy a pacification armada had been unanimous. Not extermination. Not genocide. That was inefficient and politically messy. Pacification meant controlled orbital dominance, infrastructure seizure, and leadership replacement. Clean. Professional. Repeatable. 300 warships slipped into formation outside Sol's gravity well, hulls shimmering like ceremonial blades. The Council watched live. Earth rotated peacefully below. Cloud systems moved. Night lights glowed. Thousands of civilian transmissions continued uninterrupted. "They haven't even powered planetary shields," one analyst said, confused. "Denial response," another answered. "Common in pre-unified species." Minutes passed. Then Earth transmitted. No panic. No screaming emergency channels. No desperate diplomatic pleas. Just a single tight band signal that cut through Council encryption like it owned the place. "This is Admiral Helen Crow, United Earth Defense Command." Her voice sounded tired. Annoyed. Like someone woken up early on a day off. "You are trespassing in restricted space." Silence filled the Council chamber. Chancellor XYR clicked his mandibles in amusement. "Bold," Crow continued. "You have 5 minutes to leave." A pause. "After that, we stop being polite." Laughter spread across multiple atmospheres. "Record that," XYR said. "I want it archived." The pacification armada moved forward. Formation perfect. Weapons charging. Shield matrices unfolding like mechanical flowers. Earth still didn't react. No fleet launch. No visible defense activation. No evacuation signatures. Just calm. One junior analyst raised a trembling limb. "Chancellor, their star output just fluctuated." "What does that mean?" "I don't know." Inside Sol, something ancient woke up. Not alien. Human. Deep beneath the crust of Mercury, reactors older than most Council civilizations pulsed to life, fusion cores wrapped around experimental singularity stabilizers. In the asteroid belt, objects previously catalogued as mining stations unfolded like predators stretching after a long sleep. Near Jupiter, the storms parted. And something the size of a small moon rotated once, and aimed. The first pacification ship vanished. No explosion. No debris. No energy spike. Just gone. Sensors returned static where reality used to be. "Report," XYR snapped. "Unknown event. Possible micro-singularity discharge." The second ship vanished. Then a third. Then space itself rippled, like a wound refusing to stay closed. Admiral Crow reappeared on every channel simultaneously. You really should have left. The armada opened fire. Lances of stellar hot energy tore toward Earth. Halfway there they bent. Not deflected. Not blocked. Bent. The beams curved in perfect arcs and slammed back into the firing ships with surgical precision. Confusion detonated across alien command networks. What field is that? How are they calculating reflection vectors? That violates 3 branches of physics. Human ships appeared inside the formation. Not sleek. Not elegant. Not council standard anything. They looked like war machines built by mechanics who distrusted engineers. Armor plates layered over older armor plates. Weapons bolted onto places weapons weren't supposed to fit. Engine signatures that screamed unsafe. Open comm channels flooded the battlefield. Well, hell, a human pilot drawled. They showed up early. Another voice laughed. You owe me 20 credits. For what? They lasted longer than practice drones. Boarding torpedoes slammed into pacification ships. Human marines spilled out, heavy boots, ugly weapons, laughter that sounded dangerously genuine. They fought like creatures that had survived extinction events and learned to punch back. In the council chamber, silence replaced arrogance. Why aren't they maintaining range? One strategist whispered. Because, XYR said slowly, horror growing in his throat. They want us alive. The tactical clock updated automatically. Projected human defeat, recalculating. Then, enemy fleet combat effectiveness, 61%. 42%. 19%. The battle had lasted 9 minutes. And humanity hadn't even launched its main fleet yet. Admiral Crow leaned closer to her camera, eyes sharp, voice soft. You came here expecting a war? Behind her, Sol's star dimmed slightly, like something enormous just drew power from it. We came here expecting you. The council models finally updated. Not with surrender projections. With something they had never needed before. Survival probability, unknown. And across the void, humanity, loud, chaotic, unstable humanity, stopped pretending to be weak. The first human strike didn't just break formation, it obliterated expectations. 300 pacification vessels had entered Sol orbit, sleek and gleaming, confidence baked into every hull. Minutes later, less than half remained functional. The rest were drifting, torn apart by weapons they didn't even recognize. Energy lances curved mid-flight, engines overloaded, and gravity fields inside their ships became betrayals they couldn't calculate. Counselors screamed into feeds. What is happening? A human pilot's voice cut across every comm simultaneously. Welcome to the neighborhood, tin cans. Hope you like broken furniture. One by one, the alien ships collapsed inward, not from external attack, but from their own systems turning against them. Navigation arrays argued with each other. Shield harmonics clashed like dueling symphonies. Weapon control software literally self-destructed. The humans had done the unthinkable. They didn't just fight, they hacked reality itself, using crude drives, jury-rigged processors, and more ingenuity than the Council had thought possible. They're not just defending. A Vanthal analyst choked out, tentacles quivering. They're rewriting physics. Locally. Crow's voice remained calm, almost conversational. Learn early. If someone wants to end your species, make it expensive. Make it painful. Make it personal. We don't negotiate with trespassers, we educate them. Human vessels materialized within alien formations, sometimes through hulls, sometimes through sensors, sometimes just in places no one predicted. They moved like predators ignoring etiquette, slamming boarding torpedoes into alien ships, spilling human soldiers who had clearly been trained to hate bureaucracy as much as anything else. One counselor, staring at a camera feed, stammered, "Why aren't they destroying the ships? Why destroy what you can own?" Crow replied dryly, "We find it more efficient to recycle." Alien commanders tried to retreat. Their ships vanished only to reappear upside down, engines screaming, in the gravity well of Venus. Chaos rippled across the pacification armada. Predicted defeat, 4.6 hours. The chamber computer blared. Reality, 11 minutes. Ships were captured, systems were hacked, fleets were dismantled from the inside out. Humanity had weaponized everything the Council thought they understood: inertia, logic loops, predictive modeling, and turned it into a field of terror. Impossible! Chancellor HFY hissed, mandibles grinding in disbelief. This violates all probability calculations. They shouldn't exist at this efficiency. Crow's eyes narrowed. We exist because you assumed we were predictable. We are not predictable. Then came the next revelation. Inside one of the captured ships, a human technician tapped at a console, pulling up what appeared to be archives, ship logs, mission data, tactical blueprints, everything the Council had classified under operational efficiency. Humanity's eyes scanned the atrocities committed by the pacification armada. Worlds enslaved, civilizations corrected, cultures erased like chalk drawings in the rain. The Marine spoke softly, almost reverently. They did this to kids? Squad leader nodded. Yeah. Kids, planets, whatever we could find. The camera feed returned to Crow, still calm, still deadly, standing on Earth's surface with no visible armada behind her. We are not here to conquer, she said. We are here to audit. The Council erupted. Offers of surrender flooded comms. Tributes. Apologies. Treaty drafts. The same voices that had laughed at the human for our projected defeat were now pleading desperate. Humanity didn't respond immediately. They didn't need to. Their action was their answer. Using captured ships, patched together drives, and their uniquely chaotic ingenuity, human fleets began appearing across known space, at labor camps, correction hubs, and pacification stations. Prison doors opened. Chains fell. Worlds whispered freedom for the first time in generations. Everywhere humans went, their message was the same. We were told you would be beaten. We do not believe in that. Councilors watched in horror as the humans turned the Armada's own resources against the Council. Fleets intended for domination were reprogrammed to liberation. Supplies meant for occupation were redirected to rebuild shattered worlds. Justice was swift, brutal, and organized in ways that no predictive model could handle. One counselor whispered, "They're not conquering us. They're recruiting." HFY sank into his chair, the enormity of the failure pressing down on his armored shoulders. "They're rewriting the rules," he muttered. "Our history, our tactics, everything we believed is obsolete." Admiral Crow's final transmission to the Council feed was both warning and promise. "You underestimated us. That happens. What matters is what comes next. Stand trial, or stand aside. Resistance is optional, but consequences are guaranteed." The humans hadn't just won a battle, they had redefined what victory even meant. Predictions failed. Models collapsed. And across the void, humanity, loud, chaotic, brilliant, terrifying humanity, revealed what all species would eventually learn: you never, ever bet against a species that refuses to lose. The Council's attempt at surrender was almost cute. Apologies poured across channels. Treaty drafts arrived in every conceivable language. Tributes. Holographic bouquets. Even a recorded song from a supposedly artistic species that humans quietly classified as indigestible noise. Humanity listened, then muted the feed. Because the humans had found something much more interesting. Inside the captured pacification vessels lay the true heart of the Armada: encrypted mission logs, ship schematics, operation schedules, and, most importantly, lists of compliant species, worlds already broken, and the Council's notes on which populations could be eradicated without political fallout. One human marine stared at a holographic map of dozens of obliterated worlds. His jaw clenched. "They did this to everyone," he said quietly. Squad leader nodded, voice low. "And we're about to make them pay, efficiently." Crow's hand hovered over a console the size of a hollow table. Her eyes scanned the data streams of entire civilizations, past, present, and planned. Every fleet movement, every pacification target, every attempt to erase a species was now a human plaything. Operation Audit, she said simply. The fleet jumped into motion. Not toward retreating alien vessels. Not toward negotiation. Through them. Capture drives were patched into human systems, logic codes reversed, warp matrices adapted, weapon calibrations flipped. Entire star systems trembled as human fleets used the Council's own technology against its masters. Planets thought lost to tyranny saw the sky change for the first time in generations. Prisoners walked free. Cities long abandoned lit up with electricity once again. And everywhere the humans went, a single message blasted across every wavelength. "We were told you were beaten. We do not believe in that." Some council members tried to regroup. Flanked by loyal fleets, they issued orders. Deploy countermeasures. Evacuate. Redirect. Retaliate. Every move was anticipated. Every fleet anticipated. Every plan met with improvisation so raw, so terrifyingly human, it defied prediction. "They're reading us," a Vanthal commander whispered. Like they know our moves before we make them." Crow's calm voice filled the void. "You didn't expect humans to think outside your equations. That's your mistake. We do it naturally." Aliens who attempted escape found themselves ensnared in gravitational nets they hadn't designed, trapped by logic loops they didn't understand, and stranded on planets already repopulated by humans and freed species alike. Counselor XYR sat frozen. The armada was collapsing from the inside out. His species' pride shredded by the very ingenuity they had dismissed. "They are not just winning," he muttered. "They are auditing us. Every flaw, every cruelty, every assumption, it's being turned back on us." And humanity's final act in this stage was not destruction, it was liberation with a twist. Captured vessels were stripped of their offensive systems, but left functional for peaceful use. Leaders who had enforced the Council's cruelty were exiled to a single moon, forced to live under the laws they had imposed. Systems once scheduled for correction were now fully autonomous. Freed species were offered training, integration, even alliance under Earth command. Crow's last transmission to the Council was almost casual. "You can stand trial," she said, voice calm and deliberate. "Or you can stand aside. Resistance is optional. Consequences are guaranteed." She paused. "Most species learn the hard way. Humanity doesn't play fair. We don't bargain. We don't predict failure. We survive, and when survival isn't enough, we adapt. We retaliate. And if that still isn't enough, we win." Across the void, humanity, chaotic, brilliant, terrifying, had done something no model could ever foresee. They had turned an entire galaxy's worth of invaders into liberated assets, redefined warfare as an audit, and sent a message so clear that every intelligent species who heard it would tremble. Never underestimate humans. They're worse than clever. They're relentless. And they remember. The Council realized, too late, that their timekeeping, their predictions, and their arrogance had been the enemy's greatest weapon. Humanity had played the game entirely by their own rules, and won spectacularly. The galaxy would never be the same. The war lasted 17 minutes. The aftermath lasted decades. Humanity didn't burn the Council worlds. They dismantled them, bureaucracy by bureaucracy, fleet by fleet. They kept the useful parts. Threw away the cruelty. They rewrote legal codes, patched broken infrastructures, and left audit reports on every conquered, or liberated, system. Some species joined willingly, seduced by humanity's blend of pragmatism and chaos. Others learned the hard way. A few tried revenge. They didn't try twice. Across the galaxy, humanity became a living warning. Not because they were invincible, though the Council had tried to calculate that, but because they refused to play by anyone else's rules. On a joint human-alien station, long after the dust settled, an old war hero sat at a corner table with a six-eyed miner and a retired Vanthal officer missing 3 limbs. They swapped stories, laughter echoing over the hum of distant engines. You really ended it that fast? The miner asked. The old man shrugged. Predictions assume you'll fight fair. Humans don't. The Vanthal chuckled bitterly. You hid gods in your gravity wells. No, the man said, dark and tired, raising a glass. We hid ourselves. Angry apes. Cowards who survived 3 extinctions. Survivors who decided when enough was enough. And when the universe noticed us, it was already too late. Somewhere far away, in a rebuilt chamber no longer called a council, a plaque hung with a single human sentence, carved in stone so no one could ever edit it. Never predict how long humans will lose. They're very bad at it. Peace came not because the galaxy was tamed, it came because humanity had redefined it. Trade routes were safer, labor systems restructured, old tyrannies dismantled, and every alien species learned one immutable truth. If humans say they will do something, they will. If humans warn you, you better listen. And if humans fight, the only thing predictable is their unpredictability. Years later, the old Anmara would watch children, human and alien alike, play under the light of rebuilt cities. A girl with 4 arms tripped over a boy with scales, and he laughed. She laughed louder. He smiled, thinking of the council, of fleets folded inside themselves, of centuries of arrogance undone in minutes. Somewhere, in a corner of the galaxy, a new species whispered, "The humans, they are coming." But everyone else already knew. They had already arrived. And humanity had already won.